Got a couple things to talk about today. I am going to do my VR for Mangini about how to improve the hobby. But first, I'm going to show you guys a spectacular card. Spectacular, although it looks fairly unassuming, but it is spectacular because it is spectacularly rare. And I didn't stutter when I said that. This thing is rare. Uh, but before I do that, I'm going to show you this card as a preface. So this is card number 59 of the 73 Calvi set. I'm doing the bat back run. The first 91 cards in the set come in two backs. Bat backs that look like this. So first, well, here's the back. But this is card number 59, as I said, and this is of Hiroshima Carp pitcher Yoshiro Sotokuba. And Sotokuba was a very good pitcher. He is a Hall of Famer. I would say if you look at his career numbers, the counting stats aren't really quite there, to be honest. He is actually a fairly recent Hall of Fame inductee. But he has many accolades. He is a very decorated pitcher, and he was pretty dominant. He threw multiple no hitters, and I believe he also threw a perfect game. So anyway, like I said, the Calby Batback 73s, the first 91 cards in the larger set come in two backs. They come in Batbacks like this, and this is card 59, so this would be, not would be, it is, the Batback. And then this card also comes in Flagback. So if this card were a Flagback, it would look like this. And no, this is not magic or some sort of arcane sorcery. What I have here is the spectacular card, and this is it. So this is the number 59 Yoshiro Sotokuba card, but this is the B-type image variation of the card. And the image variations, these only come in flagback. So this is the same card, and the text on the back is the same. I have the bat back of the base card, and the image variations only come in flagback. Now, these things are, as I said, these are just mythically rare. So one of the reasons is that they were more regionally issued. So I want to explain a little bit again, although if you watch my channel, you've probably heard this quite a bit. But basically, when it comes to the Calbies, the at least the bat back cards, the first 50 or so were released nationally across Japan, and they were also uh, reprinted. And then that would be the first 50 or so. And then basically the numbers from within the 50s, like through the 60s, were basically also issued across Japan. So that would include this one. This was also nationally released, but these are a little more scarce than the first 50 or so because they were not reprinted. So they basically got a one-shot print, whereas the first 50 or so were actually reprinted as well. And then you have the Series 2 or Block 2 cards, which are cards 73 through 91, which are rare. And these cards were only, and the reason is they only got one print, and they were only issued in Western Japan. So that skips Tokyo. They were only released in Western Japan, and they got one print. Now these image variations were basically, although regional issues. So while this card was released nationwide, this number 59. This image variation would have been a more regional issue. So these variations, I believe, for these certain cards like this one that have image variations, I believe the image variations were Western Japan releases as well. But they probably were released only in Western Japan and in much smaller quantities because they're just variations that fun variations that you could get of the regular card. So basically, this card, I would be very shocked if there were more than a couple dozen copies of this card in existence. I would say that's probably the numbers you're looking at for something like this. So, like I said, maybe unassuming looking, doesn't look too special, dirty, but I found this card in a box looking through it with some other 73 Calbys, and the price did not reflect what I could probably sell it for if I wanted to, which I don't. So I think it's just one of those, things where they didn't really know what they had, because again, it looks pretty unassuming. It doesn't say SSSP or anything. It's just the back looks exactly like the regular flag back of this card. So okay, so that's that. Um, and then just by the way, plug for my blog. I will leave the link in the description to the video. I have a vintage Japanese card blog where I'm translating all of these Batback cards. So check that out if you want to. Link in the description. Okay. So now I'm going to go on to my VR for John Mangini, the hobby president. Um, So, how to improve the hobby? Right. So, I don't know that my idea is super novel. And again, actually, somebody else might have had a similar idea or things like that. I can't watch or find all of these, VRs and things like that. So, basically, what my idea is there would be an annual show. Well, I guess ideally annually, right? And it would basically be like a for collectors by collectors show. And what I mean by that is it would basically be a card show, but it would have a couple differences. And I think, to be honest, like, I do think that I'm a little sick. Sorry for the voice stuff, but I do think that this would be achievable. Well, okay, I'll just, what is the idea, right? Okay, so the idea is you have this card show, but it's got a couple differences that make it more purely collector friendly. So our show, the by collectors for collectors show, rule number one for this show, no breakers. So breakers would not be allowed. There wouldn't be a breaker pavilion or shows that generally at this point I think the bigger shows there's a breaker presence if it's a bigger show, right? So our show hopefully would be big. I mean, yeah, we'd want to do it upright, right? So no breakers. The second rule would be, well, I don't know, condition, I guess stipulation would be that all of the sellers and dealers that come to the show would basically be vetted by and vouched for by the collecting community. So we would sort of curate dealers and sellers that we want to see at our show, honest dealers, honest sellers who are friends of the hobby and things like that. So we would I don't know how it would work, but maybe before this, while this thing's being organized, people in the community would put out feelers and say, are there any sellers or dealers you particularly like that you think would have a good place, at our show that you want to see there and stuff. So, usually how a show works is you just Somebody, you pay for the table, you pay for the space, and you come, and it doesn't matter if you're a butthole with your head in the clouds who's stubborn and doesn't want to sell things for comp, you're just flexing, or you're being difficult, or you're just not a good actor. Look, we love sellers. I love sellers. I have no problem with people who are only dealers and sellers. The collectors would not be able to get their stuff without the sellers, and the sellers couldn't get their money without the collectors. It's a symbiotic relationship. Is that the right use of that word? That should be a good relationship. And like at our show, you wouldn't have any of that. You'd have honest sellers, honest dealers, dealing with honest collectors. Well, most collectors are honest, to be honest, right? And it would just be good in that regard, right? So no breakers, vetted and vouched for sellers and dealers at our show that get invited. I understand this sounds gatekeepy and it sounds elitist, but whatever. And then finally, what I'd want to do at the collectors by collectors for collectors show would be to really have a lot of stuff that's for the kids. So a lot of kid-friendly stuff. Like for example, I don't know for concretely, everything. But what I would want to do, like imagine there's some games or for kids, like maybe we get one of those like inflatable prize booth things where the paper, the money, usually it's money, right? Like flies around and you look really stupid in there trying to like grab the stuff. But maybe like our show would have like little pieces of paper in there or something, and a kid goes in there and does the game, and then the paper they grab, maybe they come out and it has like a prize on it. So it's a card or it's a pack or a couple packs or something, right? So there's prizes written on the papers, and then like the kids get prizes, but games like that. Maybe we have a bouncy castle, one of those like inflatable bouncy castles, and the kids have to like jump up and do the same, like they have to try to grab up, I don't know. So I'm thinking it's kind of vague, but I'd want to have a lot of like fun positive stuff for kids also at the show. So I mean that's my idea. Make a positive collector focused show that's also kid friendly with good sellers and dealers that are friends of the hobby, and just have a sort of, and I don't know, the hobby does the like hobby palooza thing on YouTube, right? Maybe it's like a real life hobby palooza or something like that. So yeah, that's my idea. To be honest, I again sick. Sorry for the voice. To be honest, I really think this is actually something that could be like achieved. Quite frankly, I think there are a lot of people in the community that have the clout or and frankly the money to make this actually happen. But I don't know. It seems like a cool idea to me. So, all right, guys, that's what I got. As always, thanks for watching. Peace.